So what do we know, Eric, about this feedback from the SEC?
Yeah, we only got sort of dribs and drabs here, but we know that the ball is in sort of Uber and Lyft's court. They've gotten an initial round of feedback, and so now it's going to be on them sort of when they get something back to the SEC. And then, of course, sort of whether the SEC is open or closed because of a government shutdown is going to continue to affect the timing here.
How did the partial shutdown impact these companies?
I think we're going to have to see. The companies, of course, haven't been that clear on timing. In the case of Lyft, we had reporting a while ago now that they were targeting March and April, and my sources still say that that's the timing right now, March or April. So it seems like, at least in the case of Lyft, they're still on track, sort of barring any sort of other change in strategy or a further government shutdown.
Right, that was my next question. There are a lot of unknowns here, including whether the government will stay open for the next few weeks. There is another shutdown possibly looming. If that happens, what does that mean for Uber and Lyft?
Yeah, and I think it's not just the government shutdown, right? I mean, the government shutdown could delay things because the companies are waiting for feedback, want to make sure that everything they're providing to the public investors is sort of appropriate. But I mean, the companies also just have strategic questions that they've always had to make sort of down the line about when they want to go relative to each other, whether they're ready internally. And those questions are sort of opaque to the public, and they're still going to have to make them. So the government shutdown is really just an additional variable in sort of a situation where there are lots of questions about exactly when they're going to go public.
And in terms of exactly when they're going to go public, are we still looking at March, April?
I think, March, April for Lyft is the best reporting we have, and, I would sort of bet on that. And then sort of on the Uber side, I think this year, they sort of talked about the first half. I think that's still very possible, but I think Uber feels sort of much more flexibility to sort of watch the markets and sort of see what the situation is. I think Lyft really still does want to go out before Uber, make sure that some of the key metrics that they think are important, that they get to really sort of define those and not have Uber sort of cloud the whole story. So I think for Lyft, we're going to continue to see that aggressive timeline, and I think Uber is sort of playing it a little more close to the vest.